Have a nice day, student. Today we continue the chapter Natural Resources. Today we discuss about the lithosphere. Lithosphere is the area of earth crust which is covered by soil or which is considered as a soil. So first of all we discuss about the soil. The soil is the nutritive material which help in the growth and development of living beings. Soil is the structure which help in the development and growing of plants. So what is the soil? Soil is the composition of nutrients. Nutrients in the case of plants, these minerals, water, these are the nutrients which help in the growth and development of plants. So first of all we discuss about the components of soil. So soil basically consists of two main important components. One we call them physical components or we call it physical components. Second one we call it biological components. So this biological component in the sense of microbes and living beings is present in the soil. So we call it the biological components. What are the constituents of soil? So constituents of soil. So that is the first minerals or we call them inorganic content such as minerals. Second we call it the organic content. It means living beings. And third one we call them air, and fourth we call them water. Soil is formed by the two processes. Process number one we call them weathering. Soil is formed by the two types of weathering, physical and chemical weathering. So what are the factors which are responsible for the soil formation? The soil formation affected by the water, air, temperature. These abiotic factors are responsible or are affected the process of weathering process. In the case of living beings also affect the soil formation because living beings it means decomposers. Decomposers are the living beings which are responsible for the formation of humus, and humus are the nutritive or productive content which is responsible for the growing of plants. Now, next point we discuss here regarding the soil pollution. So how the soil become polluted? The soil become polluted due to any undesirable mixing of molecule, or we call it the adding of agrochemicals are responsible for soil pollution. Soil pollution can be prevented by the organic farming. So soil pollutions can be regulated by agro farming. Agrochemicals are responsible for soil formation or soil pollution, but the soil pollution can be controlled by organic farming. Now, another important concept for the soil, that is the soil erosion. Erosion it means removal of topsoil. We call them soil erosion. Erosion also can be prevented by afforestation. Soil erosion it means removal of topsoil. Topsoil means the soil which is present on the top layer. We call it the soil erosion. It can be prevented by the afforestation. This can prevent the soil erosion. Soil erosion can be, what is the impact of soil erosion on the soil? So it will increase the Desertification on the land, it reduces the plants on the land. So it is harmful events for the plants on the lands. Now we discuss about the biogeochemical cycles. What is the biogeochemical cycle? First of all, we discuss about the biogeochemical cycles. So, what are the biogeochemical cycles? Biogeochemical cycles. Bio it means living being, geo it means earth, and chemicals or nutrients which is recycled in the nature. This process is known as the biogeochemical cycle. Biogeochemical cycle, the process through which the biomolecules, through the chemicals and through the substance are recycled in the nature, we call them biogeochemical cycle. Biogeochemical cycle can be divided into two parts. First of all, we call it gaseous cycle. Gaseous cycle, it means in which the gases are recycled in the nature. For example, nitrogen gas or nitrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, they are recycled through this process. Another important cycle, we call them sedimentary cycles. Sedimentary cycles are the cycle process through which the molecules or substance or chemicals and minerals like calcium, phosphorus recycle in the nature, we call it sedimentary cycle. Today we discuss about the water cycle. First of all, this is the water cycle. Everybody well known about the water cycle, how the water is cycled in the nature. So first of all, we discuss regarding the recycling of water in the nature. So this is the recycling of the water. So in the nature, the recycling of water starts through the evaporation of water. The water becomes evaporated and converted into the clouds, and these clouds moved into the wind, and they causes the precipitation and rainfall. So the water evaporate from where? It can be evaporate from the ocean as well as from plants through the transpiration. It can also evaporate through the respiratory system. It will be transported through the cloud and finally it precipitate. So precipitation start on the land surface and water become precipitate on the land. Some part of water become infiltrated in the earth crust and percolated in the earth crust, or it fulfill the groundwater table. Remaining water will flow on the surface of ocean, surface of earth and flow into the river and other things, and it will be finally reach into the ocean. So this is the water cycle through which the water is cycled in the nature. We call it the water cycle. Water is a very important application and important molecule which is necessary or essential for the survival of human being on the land. So the biogeochemical cycles is the important biogeochemical cycle here. Now we discuss another important biogeochemical cycle, that is the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen present in the air or in atmosphere. 78% nitrogen is present in the air or atmosphere, but it is not useful for the plants. So for plant point of view, it is useless for plant or not used by the plant, because plants cannot use it directly. So plant needed the nitrogen in the form of nitrates and NO3. So the process through which the nitrogen convert into NO3, this process is known as the nitrogen fixation or nitrification. Nitrogen fixation or nitrification. During the nitrogen fixation, the nitrogen convert into the nitrate. This is the some processes we discuss here. So how the nitrogen convert into the nitrate? So here some important concepts are given here. This is the atmospheric nitrogen. It is converted by physical process first of all. So here physical process is divided into two parts. Physical process. The physical process divided in two parts. First we call them natural process through the lighting, and second we call them artificial process whenever we apply the fertilizers, हम जब fertilizer soil में add करते हैं तो this is the artificial process. So this is the natural process through which the nitrogen convert into the nitrate, and this process we call them acid rain. So whenever the nitrogen is produced, nitrogen is present in the atmosphere, it will react with oxygen and convert into the HNO3, and during the lighting it come on the land. This nitrogen used by the plants for the formation of proteins. These animals use these plants for food, and whenever we add this nitrogen as a fertilizer, so this is the artificial way through which nitrogen convert in ammonia, and ammonia finally convert into the nitrogen. So this is the physical process. Now we discuss what is the biological process through which the nitrogen convert into the nitrate. So in the biological process, it is also divided into two parts. Biological process divided into two parts. First we call them non-symbiotic. Non-symbiotic, it means the living beings directly convert the nitrogen into nitrate. For example, cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria having the heterosis, which is convert this nitrogen into the nitrate without any help of other living beings. So such type of combination, such type of process we call them non-symbiotic. Another important process we call them symbiotic process. So symbiotic process we discuss here. Now this is the cycle in which we discussed already. The atmospheric nitrogen is present in the nitrogen. This nitrogen convert into the nitrate or NO3, which is help for the growing the plants. So this nitrogen convert during the lighting. This nitrogen react with oxygen and convert into the NO and come on the land through the rainfall and help in the growth of the plants. Second one, these plants are utilized by the living beings or animals, and they produce excreta. It contains the urea or any other nitrogenous waste material. This nitrogenous waste material finally convert into the ammonia, and this ammonia again convert into the nitrates. So this is the biological process here. Another important process here, whenever the inorganic fertilizers are convert this nitrogen and hydrogen combine and form the ammonia, and this ammonia convert into the urea. Urea is used as a fertilizer, and it will dissolve in the water and convert into the NO3, and finally plants use it. This process is known as the nitrate. Whenever the nitrogen convert into the again nitrogen, nitrate convert into the nitrogen, this process is known as the denitrification. This process is known as the denitrification. So what is the biological nitrogen fixation? Non-symbiotic biological nitrogen fixation. In the symbiotic biological nitrogen fixation, the living being such as rhizobium bacteria, which is present in the root nodules of legume plants, it convert the nitrogen into nitrate with the help of nitrogenase enzyme. This is enzymatic process in which the nitrogen convert into the nitrate and plants utilize it. So first of all, this nitrogen convert in the nitrate. This is known as the nitrogen process, nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen whenever convert into the ammonia, it is good. So what is the role of the plant? The role of the nitrogen in the plant? Plant use the nitrogen in the form of nitrate, that is NO3. Plants convert it into proteins. Proteins are utilized by the living beings or by the animals, and animals convert this nitrogen into ammonia, and ammonia plus CO2 finally convert into the urea, and it will be excreted and it will mix into the soil, and soil convert this nitrogen and this nitrate into the plant. So this is the nitrogen cycle in the nature, which is helpful for the growth and development of living. Some non-symbiotic other bacteria, just like for example non-symbiotic bacteria, which can convert the nitrogen into the nitrate, non-symbiotic or free living bacteria. Example: Azotobacter, cyanobacteria. They can convert the nitrogen into the nitrates. Thanks for today. Have a nice day.